You're joining us at Ideal Flatmate's offices here in London for day 2 of Landlord Talking Points powered by Ideal Flatmate. And I'm joined by co-founder, again, Tom Gatzen. And Tom, well, London's a great place to talk about actually the rise of build to rent. And it's been on our radar probably for kind of 3 or 4 years now. But I think all the signs are there that it's really starting to get traction now. And some of the kind of main operators have said that they've had, their most invested quarter so far in the first quarter of 2019. So, build to rent is looming more and more into the private rented sector.
It really is, and I think it's important to note that it's still a very small percentage of the market. There are about 40,000 build-to-rent properties live in the UK at the moment. But as you say, the market is changing and evolving, and there's 200,000 properties being built in the market set to come live over the next 3 years. So whereas maybe in the industry we all kind of know about build-to-rent, amongst the general population it's not known yet, but that is starting to shift. And you've seen a lot more marketing activities, branding work done by the big build-to-rent operators as they are set to come live with some of their biggest schemes over the next few years. So I mean, it's really interesting. We're fortunate enough to be working with the sector. We've got a number of the developers signed up and live on Ideal Flatmate to market their schemes to our sharers. And we found a way to buddy up groups of 2 and 3 sharers and put them into a build-to-rent property, which is a really exciting development for our tenants. A lot of our kind of user base are perfect for those sort of developments. Yeah. And it's just, I see it as a very exciting change for the sector.
Indeed, and I think, some landlords kind of fear the advent of build to rent, and I can kind of understand why, but I think the build to rent proposition is so different to what a private landlord offers. I think it's healthy that tenants have got more choice, don't you think?
I do, and I can see where the fear comes from. I think some of the government changes have definitely been set up to benefit build-to-rent developers. There are certain exemptions for build-to-rent developers building certain schemes, and I can see why some landlords are pretty peeved off with that. But you're right. I think long term, it's of benefit for tenants that there's more choice out there in the market. And you're right. It's not for everyone. A lot of people don't want to be living in a purpose-built 30-floor building. And you can throw in as many amenities as you want, but some people would prefer to live in a professional landlord-owned property. So I think it's a good thing that there's more choice, and I think hopefully it will drive standards up across the whole marketplace. And you'll see landlords giving a good quality service, doing the right thing for their tenants will have no problem at all. I think the ones to watch out for are maybe some that have been cutting corners over the years and not providing a good quality of service for their tenants, who might see that as standards improve across the industry, more questions are raised about their kind of practices.
No, I think that's a very good point. And certainly if I was a landlord in an area where there was a lot of build to rent going on, I would probably take a couple of hours to stroll along to that development and have a look at what they're doing, the kind of standards and all the extras that they're providing, because as you say, we need to understand the competition and we need to see if we're going to match that, or even think about the differences, such as private landlord will probably take pets, whereas the build-to-rent operators won't. So we can actually see the kind of gaps in what they're doing and kind of fill those gaps.
Yeah, to be fair, a lot of the build-to-rent do, and they love the fact that they have it. It's like pet friendly. Yeah, okay. But I take your point. I mean, and I think it's so new, it's such early doors that the build-to-rent developers themselves don't know what's going to work. So you see some of them having gyms included, but then they realise 80% of people don't want to go to a gym. So why do they have to pay more than for something they're not going to be using? They'd rather have a weekly yoga class, for example. Things like that. So I think that's great advice for landlords to go check out some of the schemes, research what is being offered, and if it works, build it into their own offering. But I think what's key is speaking to your tenants as much as possible, because there's no one-size-fits-all kind of change and one-size-fits-all scheme that's going to work. For one group of tenants, they might love it the idea of a free gym or being close to a gym and things like that, but it's not for everyone. So stay as close to your tenants as possible, respond to any issues that they have, and just do the basics. And I think there's something to be fearful of.
No, quite. And I think that the build to rent is going to attract that sort of golden type of tenant, the young professional. That's their key market demographic. And of course, landlords love those types of tenants as well. But, we're seeing the advent of much older tenants, people renting into retirement. They still need somewhere to live, and they're not going to want to live in, as you said, a 30 floor, shiny chrome and metal, development in the middle of the city.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge for the build-to-rent developers, and I think you're right. I mean, more and more people are renting for longer. We've all kind of seen the stats and seen how buying is just out of reach for a lot of people now, and also as a lifestyle choice. That our fastest growing group of renters on Ideal Flatmate are people over the age of 40, which we never envisaged when we set this up. We kind of thought it'd be mainly for students and young professionals, but as trends shift in demographics and people rent for longer, people share for longer as well, and people would rather live in a community of sharers, often with 2 or 3 others, rather than a big massive tower with hundreds of other sharers. But I think you're right. The key point is, I think it's good for the market in general, more choice for tenants, and I don't think landlords need to feel a threat at this stage at all.
Well, certainly, if I had a build-to-rent operator coming near me, build-to-rent is really going to focus on these purpose-built flats with all the extra amenities. What they're not doing is building family homes. So certainly, part of your due diligence, if you're thinking of buying a property in a new area, is actually to look at if any build-to-rent operators are coming to that, because they could, provide a big supply of flats that could push the landlord much more towards, like a terraced house, family home, which is my preferred type of investment anyway. So, again, I think landlords, they may see that flats aren't going to have such good returns in these cities where there's a lot of build-to-rent activity, but then they can look to your bog standard humble terraced house that's always done well for landlords.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information out there. So if landlords are concerned or interested, they can get in touch with us at Ideal Flatmates, because we've got data on kind of where the new schemes are coming live. Okay. So if you email in to hello@idealflatmate.co.uk, we'd be very happy to help anyone out with that kind of information. And there's also a lot of information on the British Property Foundation site. They've got a map with new developments coming live. So you're right. I think just do your research, but don't be kind of feared, into being too scared by some of the stories out there. It is just 5% of the market at this stage. And although it's set to grow over the next couple of years, it's not going to suddenly take over and displace all landlords, despite some of the headlines you might have seen.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Thank you very much, Tom. And we'll be going again tomorrow for day 3 of a Landlord Talking Points. So join us then. And tomorrow we are going to be talking about Brexit and the London property market. And of course, where better to do it than actually sat here in the Ideal Flatmate offices right here in the capital. So please join myself and Tom again tomorrow. And if you're watching on YouTube, we do indeed always invite you to push for notifications and subscribe. And also, if you want to join our conversations, please jump across to propertytribes.com. That is where our discussions are hosted. So we'll see you tomorrow.